Hello everyone, and welcome back to Islands of Wanyama, Episode 7. I'm yoyosmugglerr, and it's great to have you guys back. So a little bit of a hiatus there from the videos. I was going at a little bit of a steady pace there for a while, but just couldn't keep up with it, unfortunately. So if anybody out there is actually waiting on the next episode, I do apologize. But yeah, I just had a couple things going on in life that I was giving more attention to, so didn't really get a whole lot of playing time at Planet Zoo this week, but we definitely made up for it, or at least I'd like to think we made up for it because we got a lot done. So we actually, so we're starting to work on our souvenir building on the other side of the souvenir building for the trading company building that we started a couple episodes ago. So it's actually going to connect right to the back of the trading company building from the front of the plaza. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at right now. But like I was saying, I think I definitely made up for the little bit of the video hiatus. We got basically almost all the entrance area done. So next episode we should be moving on into more of the themed areas. Here we are. We're just working on this souvenir building here. And like I said, we got all of our entrance area done. Very happy with how a lot of this turned out. It's a little bit of a long time lapse because I was finding a hard time trying to find time for the actual Planet Zoo this week. Just didn't have a lot of it, but I wanted to try to get a video out, but I just couldn't seem to find enough time to actually get a decent video put together. So a lot of this time-lapse footage is just kind of bits and pieces from certain days. So it's about 21 minutes long, I believe. So if you want to go ahead and skip the time-lapse and get to the real-time portion, you're more than welcome to do so, because we got a lot to look at in the real-time portion, because there's just so much stuff that I was able to get caught up on once the weekend hit. Very happy with everything that's turned out, though, and great to have you guys back, and great to be back here. But yeah, so next week should be a little bit better. We got Thanksgiving break coming up, thank God. So I got a 4-day break there, and hopefully we'll get some videos turned out then. My goal is to try to get ahead of it somehow. So if you know a good way to get ahead of videos, and so that way I can possibly get them made and edited and recorded and all that, and that way in case something like this happens again to where I didn't have enough time to play this week, I can still pump out a video or two. But yeah, if you have a secret tip there, definitely let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, here we go with the souvenir building. I really love how this turned out. So this is one of the more iconic buildings in Islands of Adventure. It's the building with the big souvenir banner on the front of it as you're leaving the park here. And we're basically gonna not replicate it just because of, the piece-wise, so we take creative liberty in and what we're able to do as far as replicating it. But I definitely try to stay true to the architectural style that it has. So still going with that adventure theme, adventure feel to it, and still just struggling a little bit to get that adventure feel down. I really kicked myself in the butt here with the whole adventure theme, just because of there's not an adventure theme in the game. So like I said, just still having to make do with Indian pieces, African pieces, and Asian pieces. They're all working together to make an adventure theme for me. But I'm really liking how they're all turning out so far. Really loving how the buildings are going. This building in particular has just always been something that I've wanted to build in Roller Coaster Tycoon, Planet Coaster, Parkitect, but I've just never actually done it. So once I decided that I wanted to base this entrance plaza off of the actual Islands of Adventure Port of Entry, I was so excited. This was the building that I was most excited for. So yeah, just really loving how it turned out. Just fiddling with pieces and trying to get just pieces that I wouldn't have thought would have worked actually turned out better for me. So like this little elephant ring right here turned out great to try to make that slope a little bit more gentle there. And then turning that little Indian piece upside down too made a great little dome on the end there. Just really loved how that turned out. So like I said, with having a hard time finding time to play this week, this time lapse is a little bit choppy. So for the most part, you'll see either the starts of the builds or ends of builds, but I just wanted to try to give you guys some sort of time lapse because I know some people like to actually see the building process. So if you're here for that, then we got some stuff for you there. But I just wanted to try to throw in a little bit so that way you can kind of see, where I was going for the most part with it. Struggle a little bit with these banners here. So like I said, in real life, the real building has this massive, it's like a triple king size bedsheet or something. I don't know what it is, but it's a massive cloth that they have hanging from the roof all the way down to the bottom of the wall there, or right above the entrance arch to the building, I should say. I was just trying to play around with the tarps there for a little bit just to see if I could try to replicate that and mimic it, but just couldn't find anything. Little side build right here. When I was building that building there at the entrance plaza a couple episodes ago, I knew that there was, in the reference image that I was looking at on Google Maps, there was a ladder up top there, and I knew we had a ladder in game, and I just couldn't find it, and I forgot to look for it later on. But I was able to find it right there when I was working on this building, so I was like, you know what, pause, I'm going to go ahead and throw this little ladder on real quick here. So yeah, so I think that's the end of it for that building. We move on to this little side building. So once again, that building was not done in that the last we saw there, so it's going to be a lot more detail added onto it once we see it in real time portion. But we start working on this little building over here to the right hand side. In real life, it is right next to, no, it's not right next to, it's another building in the port of entry, but it is a little, I believe it's a Starbucks, yeah. Excuse me. It's a Starbucks, and so they sell the coffee and the pastries and all that. So I wanted to make this the coffee shop, but I really loved how that coffee shop in our entrance plaza turned out last episode. So we go ahead and we make this a Missy Goods, I believe is what the shop is called in the game. But Missy Goods is like a pastry shop, so it's kind of got that Starbucks feel, because Starbucks sells all those pastries and whatnot. So we throw a pastry shop in and a water shop in as well for this building. And the building in real life has this really cool like teardropped oval effect on top of it. So we're trying to just basically replicate that right now with these, I think they're window pieces, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on it. But yeah, so we just kind of spread them out, and they don't really, they weren't working as much as or working as well as I would like them to have, just because you can't change the color of the that piece, and it's just here I go again griping about the color of the pieces not being able to change. But it's just so frustrating still. Like I thought after 2 weeks or so I would get used to it, but nope, still just thinking about Planet Coaster and how easy that was and how helpful it was. So here I go trying out some other pieces that may have that same shape that I can actually change the color to, but just still wasn't having any luck with it. So yeah, so on the real building they had these like half teardrop shapes, or teardrop oval shapes on the ends there like that, but those pieces just weren't lining up very nicely, so I try and fiddle around with it, try to see if I can get something to look decent, but we wind up going with a different shape here in the end. And this building is just a lot of adding on detail just to try to make it look like there's something is make it just look a little bit better, because it's a pretty plain building in real life, but I do like the shape of it. I do like how small it is. There is a little leg that goes on to the right of it, but we add that here in a little bit. But I really love the archways on the design of this, like I think it's a limestone set. Really love those archways and how you're able to like play with them and sink the walls into each other. Just kind of get that cool overarching, and then those two small under pointed arches as well. So the shop is going to be functional for the guests, so that's why we're throwing in some of the windows right now, and just making sure that we can kind of get a glimpse of inside there. Just another one of those buildings where we don't do a whole lot of interior for, but like I said, we do throw in 2 of the working facilities in there. So we throw in that coffee shop as well as a, or not a coffee shop, I'm sorry, a pastry shop as well as a water shop in there. And once again, that was another one of those buildings where I cut out a lot of it. There was just, I was trying to go a different direction. I was trying to add on a part of the building to it, and it just wasn't going the way that I wanted it to, so we cut out a little bit of it there. But we'll see it in the real-time portion here as we jump on over to the building that was giving me the most pain this past week. It's the Confisco Grill inside of Islands of Adventure. So it's my second favorite building next to the souvenir building, so you can kind of see off in the background there, you can kind of see the finished product of the souvenir shop. But yeah, so this building is gave me a pain as well, just because there's so much going on with it as far as different angles and different styles. So I think I wind up using, man, I know I use a lot of different themed pieces in it. So obviously, you know, I'm seeing you can see we got the thatched roofs in there right now. In real life, they have the thatched roofs, but theirs are a little bit thinner, and the ones in game are quite thick. There was one point where I actually tried to kind of not really make a custom thatched roof, but just play around with the pieces to see if I could get that same sort of effect. But it just never came out to look like actual thatched roofs, so I wound up scrapping that idea, and that was a lot that was cut out, and a lot of time that was lost as well. But yeah, so we go with one of these clay tiled roofs, I believe, in the end for these for that instead of the thatched roofing pieces there. But yeah, so like I said, just there's so much going on with this building. There's just pieces that are everywhere as far as like different. You know, different angled pieces. There's so many different rooms and everything. So I wind up cutting a lot of that out as well and building a lot of it off or away from the actual recording. So yeah, so we don't see a whole lot of that building, but very, very happy with how this building turned out in the end. It just was a lot of fiddling around with it and trying to detail it up and just, you know, swapping pieces in and out just to see which piece looked best for it. But yeah, we'll see that in the real-time portion as well. So we're going to go ahead and start working on our first, I don't want to say our first exhibit, because it's not really our first exhibit, or habitat, I should say. Right? Yeah, the exhibits are the small creatures there. But yeah, so we've worked on our first habitat, sort of, but I'm not really going to consider it our first enclosure just because it's more of an open type feeling for a habitat. So it's, you'll see in the end what I mean. It's just not, you know, like you can see it, you know, from a one area type thing. It's something that you're going to be able to see from multiple different areas of the park. But it's going to be our flamingos. So yeah, so we're going to throw them right here at the end of our little entrance walkway. And I know, I swear, it must be a qualification, you know, if you're doing Planet Zoo on YouTube, that you have to have a flamingo exhibit at the front of your park. I told myself I was not going to do that, but it just kind of lends itself perfectly to the style of the entrance that we have here at the beginning, so I kind of figured I had to. But yeah, so you'll see in a little bit here, so we start to work on our flamingo exhibit, and the reason why I wanted to do the flamingos here at the beginning was because, as you can see here, this path, once we get to the end of it, it branches off to the left and the right, just like the real Islands of Adventure does in real life. So yeah, so those are both going to lead to themed areas as far as continent-wise goes. So that's my idea, is that each island will have its own theme accordingly to its continent. That's what we're going to at least strive for at the beginning here. So I'm thinking off to the left, if you're walking down the path as a peep. Once you get down to the branch to where you can go left or right, I'm thinking if we go off to the left there, it's going to be our African themed area, and then once we go off to the right, it'll be our Asian themed area. So with that being said, I thought flamingos were a great fit for this little area right here. So we go ahead and we throw in a beach, and we start our actual little lake there as well. So right now it's kind of small. In the real-time portion, you'll see it gets bigger, and it'll probably be bigger than that in the end too. But yeah, just really thought flamingos fit well here because they just kind of, lays about, and they don't do a whole lot. So I didn't want to put something exciting right here at the beginning, and I just thought it kind of filled out this little beach and lake area perfectly. And if in the Zoopedia in the game, they're actually native to both Africa and Asia, so I thought that would be a good connection between the two themed areas there. So right now we just go ahead and we start working on the little keeper hut for the flamingos. This is not necessarily done. So in the real-time portion, it's a little different from what we last see it as, but I still think I'm gonna add more to it, just because there's something about it that just doesn't look finished. And in the time lapse here, I try to detail it as much as I can. Or not as much as I can, but I just try to detail it a little bit here, and it winds up looking pretty decent. But I do want to, once we actually start working on the Asian theme on that side, once we kind of get how that land is going to fill out, I should say. I want to come back to this and just try to add on a little bit more to the building, because as of right now, the flamingos don't have any sort of hard shelter. So my thought process of this is we're going to add on another building here like a side building that's attached to this current building, to where they could actually go in and sleep at night if they wanted to, or if it starts to get cold or something like that. That way they have somewhere to go. So that's my thought process behind this for that building right now, and why it's not completely done yet. These wood poles gave me a really hard time because they just weren't lining up at all. They weren't aligning evenly, or they weren't, there was something about them that was just slightly off of the world axis, or slightly off of the actual shape axis. But when I was trying to slide them back and forth, they were going sideways and haywire. As you can see right there, how one is just slightly off. It was a little bit of a pain, but we wound up cutting most of that out for the video, so that way you guys didn't have to suffer through that. But yeah, just another one of those things this week that took a while. It took a lot more time than it should have. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It's just supposed to be something small. It's not something that's supposed to be too extravagant, just because I don't want the guests to necessarily look at it. It's not something that's supposed to catch your eye. It's just kind of supposed to, hide there. And in the real-time portion, we wind up throwing some bushes on there, I believe, or around the building, so that way the guests don't have such a great view of it, just because, like I said, it's just not something that's very pretty to look at. We want the guests to focus on more so the animals in that area. Alright, and then lastly we come to our last time-lapse build of the day. So like I said, jumped around a lot today, but just real quickly we go ahead and we start building the lighthouse from Islands of Adventure. So this lighthouse actually is on the outside of the entrance plaza of Islands of Adventure, but I just didn't think it looked quite right with our little entrance plaza area, so I definitely wanted, so I didn't throw it in then, but I wanted to try to get it in at some point. So I figured that this would look really cool with the flamingos just right there at the end of the little entryway. So we go ahead and we throw it in there. Try to get these stairs placed in. They have some small stairs on the actual lighthouse, and I just think it gives it a little bit more detail. Because I didn't want the actual lighthouse just to be like one big tube. I tried that bit and it just didn't look quite right. It didn't look as good as I would have liked it to have. So I wanted to give it a sturdy base and then try to get these stairs building up. So if you notice, the stairs actually get a little bit smaller as you're walking up to try to give it more of that forced perspective look. So they stick out a little less at the top of the staircase there. Well, yeah, guys, that's basically gonna do it for this time lapse. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump in the real portion now for you, as we finish up the lighthouse here. Just go ahead and throw a top on to it. It's not completely done in the time lapse, but we'll go ahead and we'll see it in real time. So we'll jump over there now. And here we are. So you can already see our lighthouse there in the background, looking pretty good. We'll look at that in a little bit. We'll get a little bit closer eye on it. But let's just go ahead and we'll start back out here in our entrance plaza. So if you didn't see all of this last episode, definitely go and check those 2 episodes out where we go ahead and complete all of this work at the beginning. But let's go ahead and we'll jump straight through the building here. You can already see off to the left and the right. We'll come back down here. We'll look the left at our souvenir shop and our Missy Goods shop that we started working on in the beginning. So yeah, I really love how these buildings turned out. Love the souvenir shop and the perspective that it gives off from down here. That little trellis up there with the flowers and everything. It's just really awesome. I really like this font here and this banner. So we had to compromise because I couldn't find a decent clothing pattern or cloth piece or whatever to drape over it. So we just go ahead and kind of frame this up here. The red is a little dark. In real life, there's this red against a white background, but I went ahead and it's a maroon. And so I went with that same maroon, and I kind of gave it a white outline just so it would pop a little bit more. I may go ahead and have to change that color though. And then the largest selection is also in maroon, just right underneath the souvenirs. The maroon was just looking terrible with next to the zebra print, just because it's one of those in-game fonts that are sunk in. So we went ahead and made it green just to try to make it stand out a little bit more, but it's still not popping, so I may have to come back and redo that and maybe download some custom font or something. But really like how this turned out here. We got some Z fighting here. We'll have to fix that later on. But yeah, just kind of so it isn't too pretty inside, unfortunately. I know we're gonna download some pieces here. I know Mr. Gomez has some really cool pieces. I think they're like postcard stands and a couple of other things we're gonna throw in here just to kind of fill this space out. So we'll go ahead and do that in a future episode. But it's just pretty bare bones. Like I said previously, we're not gonna do a whole lot of interior just because I don't want to bog down my computer for those, so it's just kind of ugly in here, but you can walk straight on through here, so the guests should be able to walk straight on through if they would like to. Then it comes out to 2 more gift shops, so got just some momentum there and just some memento over here as well, just to try to give them some incentive to come in this area as well. But yeah, so off to the left here is our Confisco Grill building. Really love how this turned out. It looks so good. Just can't. I'm gonna toot my own horn here because it was going pretty poorly at the beginning of the week. Just didn't think I was gonna be able to do that. Oh, look at that! We got a little flamingo being delivered. Oh, I thought he almost dropped it. But yeah, just really love how these turned out with all the angles, and I think it's probably like 20 different buildings. It's all smashed together. So very happy with that. This is just kind of a faux building right here, so there's not too much going on. So this is one of those buildings that just isn't meant to be paid too much attention to. We may go back and add some more details to it, but that actually leads backstage to all of our working buildings or working facilities, whatever. But this is actually all functional for the guests as well, so they can. So this is the door for the staff right there. You can see they're gonna go and click through those doors. The guests can walk into here, and they can walk in over here as well. So these are both entrances to a whole bunch of food in there. We got a couple different things in there. But really love how this building turned out. I really love this little bar sign. In real life, they have a bar sign right here that's hanging from some thatched roof, and it's got a whole bunch of funky font on it, so I wanted to try to replicate that by using 2 smaller alphabet letters and a larger alphabet letter. And then we got our little courtside dining area over here, just like they do in the actual Confisco Grill and Islands of Adventure. So really happy with how this turned out as well. Oh, definitely forgot to add on a roof here. So this is actually 2 layers. I believe this top layer is a faux layer, so it's not accessible to the guests. So we need to add on a roof here. Definitely forgot about that. But really like how these planters came out. Really like how the little detail on these walls came out as well with the ivy and everything. And then back here we got some restrooms, and these restrooms in real life are just basically bare bone, just like this. We may go ahead and add on some detail once we start building off in this direction. So you can kind of see here, this is where we're going to go for the Asian area, so we're going to build a bridge over here. And then this will all be kind of like a planting area, so that way we can hide this backstage stuff here. So you can see here, this is all of our backstage building. So it's just bare bones and basic and plain and ugly, just like it would be in real life. But let's turn around here and we'll go look at our Flamingo exhibit. So this is that building that we were working on in the time lapse here. We'll just go ahead and take a step down. So this is sat pathing only for right now. But we got some electric right here, so that way we can provide electricity, and then we just have the habitat keeper hut for it for now. And then we got some windows on this wall here, so that way they can look out in the flamingos. Don't want to look at it too much. We'll go up to the actual viewing area in a little bit here. And yeah, so this is our little entrance plaza that goes right down to our flamingo exhibit. So it's a little ugly right now if you're looking at it. Oh, that's nice. Thank you for that. But it's a little ugly right now, if you're looking at it from this angle, just because we don't have, we haven't built out this way yet. But once we build out this way, I'm sure it'll be fine. But we've got this little viewing area over here as well. But the idea is that they have this little beach area, and they can basically have this whole lake area to swim around here. So right now the edges of this are kind of ugly. They're just kind of formed like that, so that way they wouldn't escape from the actual lake itself. But yeah, so pretty happy with how this turned out. Like I said, I don't really consider it an exhibit, because there's just not a whole lot going on for it. It's just kind of something that guys can come and derp around on, and see these derpy little animals they want to at the beginning of the zoo here. And yeah, so there's our lighthouse. So it is fully functional in the sense that it does have a light in there, and it will shine at night. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with it. It was kind of a hard piece to replicate, just because of the nature of the shape of the lighthouse in real life. Just because I didn't want a big tube, that was just straight up and down tube. I wanted to give it some sort of depth and some layers, and I wanted to try to get that staircase in as well. But it just kind of looked weird with just these stairs on it, so I went ahead and tried to cover it with some rock work just to make it look like stone. Yeah, I'm not too satisfied with it, but we may come back and revisit that at a later time. But let's see if we can, there we go. See if we can get the nighttime pulled up, just so you can see the lighthouse itself. With lights up, you can kind of see that little beam. It's more obvious when you're standing farther back, but just kind of wanted something that kind of points at the entrance of the park if you're looking at it from a different island around the park late at night. I really like how that looks. So we'll go back to the daytime, because we have not done lighting on this area yet. But yeah, so not much to look at with the flamingos, except we got a couple dead. Alright. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Why are they all dead? Why are my flamingos dying? Oh no. Oh no, are these bones? I had no idea this game that is kind of morbid. Oh my lord, are you guys eating each other? Oh. Alright, well, we got a couple of dead flamingos out here. I'm not sure what the hell is going on with these guys. Are they getting fed? We got a food trough right here. Everything is at 100% welfare except for the hard shelter, and I would be surprised if that's what's killing these guys. I mean, they just got delivery. What? Alright, we're gonna have to look at this. I cannot believe this. Alright, but yeah, but everything's at 100% for these guys, except for the hard shelter, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're died of starvation, see? Oh, my lord. No, I don't want to look at his dead. Get out of here. Jesus. Died from injuries? What injuries? Are they dying from... Are they getting sunburnt to death since there's no hard shelter? Alright, starvation. Like, what? Animal has it. What is the environmental? Is the hard shelter really that cleanliness? Oh my gosh. I thought I had diseases turned off. Maybe that's why they're dying. Is it because there's like the keepers can't clean the poop down here? Is that what that is? Is that why it's so dirty? I don't know. Alright. Now you guys are just gonna... Oh, are you... I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're making love or if they're fighting or what, if they're gonna die. I don't know. But this habitat is apparently a disaster, so we'll have to come back and check on that and see what's going on. Because I have no idea what we did wrong there. It's like I said, it's just about as basic and bare bones as it gets. Yeah, nothing too special. I didn't think it would. Didn't think there would be that much drama here at the beginning. Alright, well hopefully they will sort themselves out, we'll figure out what's going on, but I think that's going to wrap up this episode, guys, so be sure to leave a like and a comment, let me know if you enjoyed something, or if you didn't enjoy something, and of course subscribe for more Planet Zoo content in the near future. Take care, guys, see you soon.